forgiving yourself is giving yourself a permission to keep living, to keep trying things, and like forgiving yourself for your mistakes. But like truly forgiving is allowing yourself and opening doors for yourself to new possibilities, to new things, and to actually live life. Because if you imagine yourself um, like on your final days and you're looking back to your, like at your life, will you feel regret, or will you feel like you did like everything the way you were meant to do with all your mistakes? And like when you imagine that, you realizing you had that no matter what mistakes you did, like when you forgive yourselves, when you forgive yourself for those mistakes, and you realize that you actually allowed yourself to keep experience life, to keep living, you are not punishing yourself for those mistakes. Because I like, given my example, I know that I can punish myself for my mistakes, and then by punishing subconsciously, like consciously or unconsciously, I sabotage things, or I do not allow myself to do this or that because I feel like I do not deserve that in that moment because of this mistake, or I feel guilty, or whatever the situation is. And you are depriving yourself of like living your life to the fullest, of having fun, of experiencing life like the way you are meant to experience the life you are like meant to live. And but when you look back and you understand, okay, I made those mistakes, I had fun, and I learned so many things. It's like the whole point, I think, of this experience, that you make mistakes, you learn, you become better, and you enjoy life. It's not meant to be perfect. It's not meant to be polished, and everything should be like black and white and right and whatever. You are meant to make those mistakes and to learn from them, and to, like, I don't know, have a heartbreak and learn something from that heartbreak and survive that heartbreak to become like whoever you need to become on the other side. And like looking back, you're gonna like be so happy and grateful that even though you made all of these mistakes, you forgot, like you had forgiveness towards yourself, and you allowed yourself to live and experience life. Like being more gentle towards yourself, it's like so important. And I'm like also speaking to myself, because I remember how angry I would be with myself in some things, and I'm like still learning and like in the process. So it's also a message for myself that like how sad it looks from the outside. Like if you look from the side and you see like how mean you are towards yourself, how angry you are towards yourself, for what? Like, okay, you made a mistake, okay, like I know there can be degrees of mistakes, but I don't know, for example, something didn't work in the relationships, and you're blaming yourself, and maybe you are holding yourself back from dating because you don't want to repeat the same mistake you made like previously. Or you punishing yourself because you think, oh, it could have worked out, it could have been this and that. And especially you can go into the spiral of saying could have, would have, should have, and you think, oh, I could have done this, I could have acted like this, and I knew better, why didn't I do better, and blah blah blah. And it's like never ending thing. And you keep spiraling in that in those thoughts, and it doesn't get better. You're just stuck in there, and you do not allow yourself in the same time to do something else, to move forward and be like, okay, I made this mistake, I realized what I did now, I sabotaged myself, or I did something. Maybe I did something with this person that sabotaged the relationships, and maybe those relationships would be great and could have worked out, and maybe those relationships would bring something amazing and beautiful into my life or whatever. I get to realize that I'm healing. I understand, okay, I need to work on self-sabotage and understand why I do that. but now I'm open to new relationships. I'm open to experience that again and trying to try something different this time and be different in these relationships, and like even like if I'm scared and feel like I'm gonna mess up again, I'm gonna try anyway. I'm gonna do my best, and I'm like, you know, like I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna try. That's a different approach. You're not depriving yourself of living your life. You're not punishing yourself because you maybe messed up in something and they could have maybe worked, but you messed up. But you are aware of that. You are learning and you keep going. We're not talking about like being blindly in denial and not understanding anything and not being aware and just keep repeating things that do not work out. But I think if you would be not aware, you would not even be here and watch. Like you would not even watch this video, or you would not even reflect on those type of things. So there's already some type of like, there's already a level of awareness. You know, because people who are not aware, they do not even question themselves. They do not even ask this type of questions. So, you know, and it's like forgiveness is very important. It's very important because if you want to be healthy and live a healthy life and be happy and allow yourself to live to the fullest, truest potential you have, then forgiveness is the must. And it can go on a deeper levels, and there is like forgiveness to yourself, to others, and there's different type of situations where you need to forgive yourself. Like there can be some dark things and like some deep things. Like it's not always like surface level mistakes, I get it, but if we talk about like simple things, I know that even for the smallest things I can get angry at myself and punish myself. So it's like the bad parenting that I inherited, you might inherit it as well, and it's just not working. Like you cannot do those things to yourself. What your caregivers did to you, or like the way they I don't know, they did their best, but the way they did it, it's like obviously not working and not the best thing to do. So trying to do it differently and trying to do like, because what are you doing right now is like you are still parenting yourself. You're gonna keep parenting yourself till your death. So try to do it the best way you can, and or just if you don't like the idea of like parenting yourself or whatever, just the way you treat yourself, like it's so important. So try to do like the best job you can ever, like you could ever do, because like it's the most important job that's gonna be in your life. Like you live in your head 24/7. Make it a nice place to be. It's so important, and do the best you can so it is the nice place to live in. Like your head to live in. Like you should not live in your head. Like you should be more present. But I don't know, does this make sense? And what do you think about, like, do you have any tips on like on forgiveness, how you forgive yourself and what you do, and like what relationships you have with this, with yourself, and with, I mean, this topic with forgiveness, because again it can be in so many different levels. Also practicing presence, like being present is so important, because when you start to think about could've, should've, and you get stuck in your head, you are not present. You also, by doing that, you also deprive yourself of the present moment and from experiencing things right here, right now. If you ever get to be in a present moment, it's such a beautiful place to be in. And I understand that, like, okay, we're not gonna go into that, but when you're truly present, you feel like you can feel more, you can feel more intense, and I feel like like personally me, it gives me more hope, more, it feels like there is the unknown that unfolds in front of you, and in the unknown there is so many possibilities. There are endless possibilities that can be explored, and there is so many directions you can go, like you can choose from, and that gives you a feeling of also excitement. It can give you that. I know it can be scary, and it can be like, oh, what do I choose, and it can bring undecisiveness or whatever, but at the same time it can bring also the feeling of excitement, of so many possibilities, so many ways to where I can move my life into what direction, and you can also worry less when you are more present. That's it. That's it for today, and let me know what do you think about this, and do you do anything, do you practice anything, and maybe your thoughts on this topic. I would love to read something from you, so yeah, see you next time.